Jorge Masvidal shows up on the MMA podcast the other day after copping a plea deal in the Colby Covington assault case. A little bit of a snitchy move there, I would think. And he goes on this insane unhinged rant that is beyond delusional and, to be honest with you, a little sad. And to add insult to injury, whilst slurping up to the rat Ariel Helwani, he actually attacks and goes in hard on Chael Sonnen, actually calling him out. So this played out then over the course of 2 days with little back and forths on Twitter, and finally last night Chael made a video responding to Jorge Masvidal, and he absolutely slammed him. He buckled him right between the two eyes, and you love to see it. I was going to shoot this video yesterday morning, got caught up in work, my apologies, but I'm glad that I waited, because at the end of this video I'm going to go through it, just pull out a few little bits that I think are cringe, delusional and unhinged, have a little chat about them, and at the end we'll have a look at Chael absolutely starching Jorge Masvidal. Before we get into it, if you could hit like, subscribe and share, I'd really appreciate that. Cheers. So I have it pulled up here, minute 109, and I have little notes, not too many, because it was a short enough interview, and you got to be careful because there's people getting hit for copyright claims using this sort of content. Even though it's reactionary, I think there is a little bit of pettiness going on there in the background, especially when you keep getting called out for what you really are. So I guess there's going to be copyright claims flying all over the place, so I've got to be careful here. I might even end up pausing the video at some stage and just playing the audio. Let's have a little listen to this first notch on the belt of delusion.
After he had declared numerous times that if he saw me in the street, he was literally going to kill me. Right? Just like the weirdest fucking shit. I couldn't talk about this before.
That's the first point that I wanted to pull up. I have watched a lot of Colby Covington interviews, and I have watched a lot of interactions that he has, even though he's very minimal online, and never once did I ever hear him say or allude to the fact that when he saw Jorge Masvidal on the street, he was going to try end his life. I never once saw that. This dude is a convicted criminal, repeated over and over again. He knows how to play the system. I grew up in an area filled with people like this. I know how it works. I know so many people that their entire existence is based on selling substances. I know exactly what happens when you get arrested. I know exactly what happens when you cop a plea deal and nothing happens to you and you get to go free. I know what happens after you do your little snitchy thing. You're feeling super high. Maybe you're under the influence of a couple of other bits and pieces, and then if you're Jorge Masvidal, you jump on an interview that's live on the internet with Ariel Helwani, and then you just vomit it all out. The dude was ecstatic that he got off with a crime and proceeded to threaten and allude to the fact that he was going to do more and more of it. Clever guy.
For numerous things, I had to be like an extra good behavior. Not that I'm going to be on bad behavior. Let's just say there's a couple motherfuckers getting slapped sooner rather than later.
What does that mean? What do you mean, like in a sanctioned situation, or like on the street?
We ain't getting into those details right now, because then they can say allegedly this, allegedly that. We're not going to get into too many details, but there'll be motherfuckers getting slapped rather soon.
Okay.
As I just said there, like, this guy really isn't smart. This is the guy who went and attacked Colby Covington, jumped him from behind with an entourage with him. So I don't know what he's talking about, the 5 people that weren't in court. It was like, dude, you showed up with a bunch of guys, you ran up from behind someone and smacked them. Now you're here talking to Ariel, you're slurring your speech, and you're literally just out of the courtroom, maybe 45 minutes, and you're talking about slapping fools. This is how you got caught the first time, you idiot. You went online saying that you just smacked up Colby, and you posted pictures of yourself and you thought you were great, then you got arrested, and then you did your snitchy thing. There's hardly any pushback from Ariel. Of course, none of this interview has any pushback from the reporter of the year, Ariel Helwani. He just lets him spit these incriminating statements one after another without any pushback. So it is what it is.
I don't know when, but me and Colby gonna see each other at some point, whether it's in a fucking cage or I don't know where the fuck it's gonna be, but we're gonna see each other for him lying on my name, for him fucking pressing charges, for everything that he's fucking done. We are gonna see each other. And it's going to be fun, man. It's going to be interesting.
So you see Joe Rogan, Brendan Schaub, DC, all these guys talking about how street Jorge Masvidal is. And you can't say this shit about his family, man, because he's just going to roll up on you. The rules don't apply to Jorge Masvidal because he's from the street. Now, I'm from a very similar place to where Jorge Masvidal is from. And I would love to see a 5'8", 5'9" kid like him roll up on some of the lads that I know. I would love to see that. Like, I don't understand how this guy gets put up on such a pedestal for being a badass. Because you got arrested a bunch of times when you were younger. You had some scrappy fights in a backyard, and then you smacked Leon Edwards when he didn't even expect it. Don't get me wrong, that was a nice little clipping, but who the fuck do you think you are, bro? That's what I'd love to know. Who do you think you are? You were talking about slapping this person, slapping that person, and in the end of this video, you talk about slapping Chael Sonnen. I would love to see that. I would love to see that attempt. We all understand the condition of small man syndrome. I see it all the time, especially on building sites. You see these smaller guys, like 5'6", 5'7", and they have to overcompensate for the size and they talk a really big talk. I'm not seeing it, man. I don't get one bit threatened from you talking about smacking this guy up and smacking that guy up. And especially you're talking about coming face to face with Colby Covington again. Does Jorge Masvidal and everybody else forget the fact that he had 25 minutes face to face with Colby Covington inside the octagon and he did absolutely nothing? He did nothing. He got mauled and humiliated. He left the octagon broken and bruised, and on camera in front of the world dropped into his father's arms and started crying and whimpering about the fact that Colby was so much better at wrestling and he couldn't get away from him and he couldn't beat him. This is one of the motivating factors for all this tough talk. Forget this crap about he talked about my kids. He never actually spoke about your kids. He never named your kids. He never said a word about your kids. What he said was you were a terrible father, and after you got arrested and put your kids' lives in jeopardy because you mightn't be there for them, you continue the same bad father behavior. It's typical though. It's typical of scumbags like this guy. And now you're talking about we are going to see face to face on the street again someday. Dude, stop. Stop. You're literally proving the fact that you're a terrible father. Go home, make some toast, read some stories, and hang out with the kids. Stop acting like a 16-year-old who's trying to prove himself to a bunch of losers that's telling him to go and do whatever. It's stupid, childish, and embarrassing. So we'll jump here to the Chael bit, and this is where it gets really interesting.
Yo, I see you beefing with everybody, man. What's going on?
No, we're good.
Everybody wants you now, huh?
Listen, you come at the king, you best not miss.
Stopping it right there to point out how cringe and embarrassing that statement was. If you come at the king, you better not miss. Shut your mouth.
Damn right. And look, anyways, Chael's a bitch. I mean, he knows it himself.
Oh,
That's the dirtiest fighter they've ever lived. He got popped with like 9 substances, still couldn't win the title.
Friends now.
You
We're
know
friends.
that guy's sore.
Don't worry.
Yeah, but still, he's a punk.
You think I won that debate, right? You think I won that debate?
Jorge goes off on one. Ariel tries to cover himself, but he's secretly loving it. He's secretly creaming himself at the idea that someone is calling out Chael because Chael just whipped him the other day. So he's loving it and he's like trying to play the whole game of, oh yeah, no, don't man, don't, we're friends. But you think I won that debate, right?
Yeah, you definitely won that debate.
Thanks,
and
Ryan.
you know, you can tell you won it. You can tell you won it when the fighter's like, I'm gonna attack you because you can't win with your mouthpiece. So now you gotta resort to violence. Tell that old steroid using motherfucker, come use the violence on me, bro. I'm
going to pause it right there and I'm going to go back and just replay that little bit. But I just want to point out the fact that Jorge Masvidal is calling out Chael Sonnen for resorting to violence because of words after he just spent an unhinged 15 minutes saying, because of what Colby said, and after I've been arrested and charged and possibly faced jail time, I'm still going to go after him and slap him up for words that he said. But because it's Chael and Ariel, all of a sudden it's like, you know you've lost. You know you've lost the argument when you have to resort to violence. It's like, dude, your mind is working in slow motion here. You sound absolutely retarded.
Tell that old steroid using motherfucker, come use the violence on me, bro. Tell him to talk like that, bro. You're such a reporter, bro.
I appreciate it.
Fucking puss.
Thank you for your support, Jorge.
So tell that old steroid-using motherfucker to come and look for me because he's nothing but a pussy. That's what Jorge Masvidal just said. I just want to point out the fact that Jorge Masvidal is almost 39 years old. Chael Sonnen's 46. So he's an old guy, I guess, because he's a couple of years older. And that brings us to the ultimate smackdown from Chael. So I was interested to see where Chael was going to go. And Chael, I think, did an absolutely perfect video. He talked about their relationship at length. So much so you were kind of thinking, is Chael going to give Jorge Masvidal a pass here for calling him out and being an absolute scumbag? Is Chael going to be the diplomatic guy? And maybe he is old. Maybe he's over the hill and he just doesn't want to fight anymore. I don't think so, man. I don't think so. So he did the video and he talked about their relationship and how he never said a bad word and the two of them were on really good terms. And then he gets to the point where Jorge Masvidal calls him out. And I was kind of sitting there because, as you can see, it's 13 minutes into the video and I'm like, okay, I'm waiting for it. Is it going to happen? And I was watching this late at night in bed. Everybody was asleep and Chael dropped this line. And I was like, this is what I like to see. This is what it's all about. I would love to see this go down. I would love it. Let's have a listen. Love this from Chael.
He then came at me on Twitter, either called me a bitch or he called me a juice head. And then says to me, keep that same energy when you see me in person. Does he think he's talking to somebody else? Is there anything about my history that you think if you do that in a different environment other than the cage, that I'm the guy that's going to just let that go? Does he think he's talking to somebody else? This was a very crazy statement.
So all of a sudden we went from like the entertaining, quick on the mic guy to you could see he was calculating it in his head, and he was like, "Who do you think you're talking to? Like, who do you think you are talking to, bro?" And if you read the tabloids recently on Chael, you know that you don't come up to him, whether it's in the octagon, outside the octagon, or in a hotel room. Talk shit, put your hands on him, and if you were in the wrong, you are going to get smacked. You're going to get a belt of an elbow. You're going to get choked out. That's who Chael is. And you can see it kind of tinkering around in his head here. He's like, how do I put across my point in an elegant way and actually mean it? And dude, he achieved it here, because I was just like, yes.
I've known you 17 years. If I do see you out of this, I'm not going to come up and look for trouble. But if you come up to me, I'm not that guy. There's nothing about what you know about me that would make you think that I'm that guy. So it was just a very bizarre experience.
Keep that same energy, Jorge Masvidal says to Chael Sonnen, and I would love to see the inversion of that. I would love to see Jorge Masvidal, 5'6", 5'7", overweight guy, kind of balding on the top and floppy hair, standing in front of a 6'1", 6'2" Chael Sonnen. I'd like to see the energy there between that confrontation. I'm sure it won't get to that. Chael is too smart for that. And as he said, who actually goes out looking for trouble? Like, at my age, I'm 42 years old, Chael is 46, and Jorge Masvidal is 38. You've got work, you've got house, you've got kids, you've got mortgage, you've got all going on. What are you doing going out looking for fights? Why is it the first thing you do when you come away from a court hearing is talk about slapping bitches up? Stop with the garbage. You're not 16. You're actually supposed to be a professional. You're supposed to be a professional fighter, and nothing you do reflects that. Pathetic, unhinged, and you just got murked by Chael Sonnen. And it's been a common thread recently. Colby murked you, Usman murked you, Gilbert Burns murked you. It's got to be tough. But my advice to you is, going out, picking fights, getting arrested, and getting locked up is no way to be a fighter. So stop getting your feelings hurt by words and go home and look after your family, and stop being a bitch. Let me know what you think of all that down below. Hit like, subscribe, and share, and I do appreciate you. Cheers.